I recently got back from a short vacation. This was not a business and vacation combo trip, which sometimes I do. This was pure vacation. And it got me thinking while I was gone that it is so important for your veterinarian and your veterinary team to take time off. I feel like this is almost piggybacking off of an episode I did back in February. In fact, I'm going to look up what the episode name was or number, because I can't remember. And in that episode, I talked about why you want your veterinarian to do well financially and what it means for you. And I feel like taking vacation is very similar to that. And so that episode is, you can just scroll down, episode 39. It was April 2nd is actually when I released it. And I talk about why you want your veterinarian to do well financially, because it means more options for you and your pet. How many times have you gone to a veterinarian and they said, well, we don't have that equipment here. We don't have that capability here. You have to go somewhere else. And sometimes it is because it is a specialty that we are referring you to, and you are in better hands seeing that specialist who has done additional schooling, who does that day in and day out to help you get to the end result quicker. And that is getting information and figuring out what that management plan is. I also feel the very same on your veterinarian taking vacation. And I do think that most pet parents are very supportive and they're like, oh my gosh, have a great time, looking forward to it. I also know that there is a small percentage of clients that scoff and huff and puff when they hear about it. And I understand that you value, as I value, knowing that your medical team, especially relating to your pet, they're available when you need them, when you want them to be available. I totally understand that. I think we can even probably extrapolate this to why I think it's okay for veterinarians to be closed on the weekends. And I understand that people are off, and that is the time where you can get things done because you are now removed from your 8 to 5 or 8 to 8 or 7 to 7 or 7 to 5 or 7 to 3, whatever it looks like during the week, and that is your time to get things done. I absolutely understand. As someone who really enjoys having weekends off to be unplugged, and whether that is to, as I joke, quote unquote, enjoy my mortgage, aka just be home, or it is going to travel, or it is relaxing, or doing a combination, is that I enjoy my weekends off. And I'm okay with my practitioners who I see, whether for me or my pet, if I need something for my pet, to be off on the weekend. And I think a lot of it is mindset, right? Like what you feel is accessible to you and how you like to access things, and again, your lifestyle. But I think it's really, really important that we also talk about veterinarians and veterinary teams taking time off, to be off for a holiday. Maybe it's the day before and the day after, weekends being off, taking vacation. Maybe the practice closes the same week every year, maybe between Christmas and New Year's, or maybe it's the week of 4th of July, or maybe it's a particular week that is very special to that veterinarian and the veterinarian team. And it allows us to recharge. It allows us to step away, let our brains to some sort of capacity kind of be off and not on this on mode, and really just reset. It allows for a space of creativity to revive itself. And I don't know if you've heard it, but being bored is really actually a good thing for your brain. It's really good for children, and it's really good for adults too, because it allows that space of creativity to really allow to come to the surface. And I feel like some of my best ideas for my practice, or even some of my patients, to think outside the box, right? Because we like to think outside the box here. In fact, if this is the first episode that you are watching or hearing and you're like, who is this person? Who is this veterinarian? I'm Dr. Bamonte. I've been practicing for over a decade, for over 12 years. And I embody being non-traditional, taking a non-traditional approach, thinking non-traditionally. And I think that when veterinarians have time to be off, because we are on so much. In fact, in the last few weeks, I have had to euthanize patients while doing hospital relief shifts. Again, if you're new here, I still sometimes fill in at hospitals as what's called a relief veterinarian or travel veterinarian. Basically, I go in and as a contract worker and go and help support them. Maybe they are down a doctor, maybe their doctor's out on vacation, maybe their staff is growing, maybe they have doctor leave. I've covered basically, you name a reason, and I have covered it just about. And in the last month, not even the last month, I have had to do probably at least a half a dozen euthanasias. And almost every single euthanasia, I've had to rebound right away and go into the next room, which has been either another euthanasia or, ironically, a puppy visit. And so I have to compose myself and turn myself off, take a moment to process what just happened, that I helped a pet parent say goodbye to their very precious, beloved pet, whether they knew it was coming or not. Either way, it is hard. And then I had to compose myself mentally and restructure myself to now enter another room and give that person my all, when I just gave the previous person my all. And I'm not to say that if we're not doing euthanasias, we're not giving people our all, but it's a different type of dynamic. And to have to go back-to-back euthanasias, or from a euthanasia to literally a puppy room, there's a lot of gear shifting. There's a lot of gear shifting in general day-to-day with veterinary care, but especially in that type of care. And when we're constantly switching gears and we're having to think about, okay, your pet with allergies, and of course, my approach is like the why, thinking and asking deeper questions and digging and digging and digging and digging and digging and thinking outside the box. And then to a pet with diarrhea or behavioral issues or cancer, there's a lot of gear shifting, and we sign up for it, right? We as veterinarians in the veterinary industry, we sign up for it. Also, why it is so valuable that we take time off, that we take time to decompress, we take time to change our scenery, we take time to slow down. Maybe it's we sit on the couch for a day. Maybe it is we're out in the lake, maybe we're in the woods, maybe we're on the beach, maybe we're meeting up with friends, or we're going to a concert. I think it is so valuable. And again, just like there's so much value to your veterinarian doing well financially, so that they can, again, as I said in that episode, I remember saying it, and this goes for this episode, long as everything is done with ethical intent and for the best of intentions, right? Is that it allows for there to be more bandwidth and capacity, which means there's going to be more options, or should be more options for you and your pet. When your veterinarian does well financially, that means that maybe they can hire better staff with more experience because they can pay them more. They can hire more staff because they can have more staff. They can have better inventory, more inventory. They can go to more continuing education sessions. Maybe they can learn more skills. They can learn acupuncture. They can learn ozone. They can learn more surgical skills. They can get good at ultrasound. They can buy a really fancy ultrasound machine. They can get other equipment into their practice. So when they do well, it expands their bandwidth and their capacity, just like when they take time off. When I take time off, it allows for that reset, that recharge, so that that bandwidth can get re-expanded. The capacity can be even larger, and that it's not this treat and street situation where it's a revolving door and it's the quickest, simplest, quote unquote solution, aka a band-aid, and we're actually present, that we're not giving short answers, that we're really intentional and available for each pet and each pet parent. Not to say there's not ebbs and flows, not to say that nothing happens in our personal life where it is pulling our capacity, but taking that time off is really valuable to reset, to sleep in. Maybe it's go to bed early. Sometimes it's just not using your brain in that capacity. And I feel like every time that I go on some sort of vacation, when I go on vacation, it's honestly, there's a travel day there and back. So it's really, and those, yes, that's time off, but really, and usually those travel days, I'm doing some sort of like back end office work, because also another complexity is, yes, I'm practicing medicine. I'm also running a business. Again, I chose to do this, but there's multiple layers there. And so having that time off, and maybe it's taking off my practitioner hat and it's having my business owner hat on like travel days, and the rest of the days I'm totally unplugged. It just allows for like a reset, the nervous system, the rest, the recharge, the physical capacity, the mental capacity. And so I hope that the next time you hear your veterinarian, your pet's veterinarian, or maybe it's even your doctor or some other professional that you frequently service or use their services, and they're like, hey, heads up, and I try and be transparent, with a few weeks out, hey, heads up, X and X date, I'm going to be out of office. My care coordinator is going to be in, or we're both going to be out. I try and be transparent and try and tell as many people as possible. That I hope that when you hear that, you're happy for them, and that there's a really good chance they're going to come back recharged, which means even better options for you and your pet, because the creativity is going to be allowed to be supported and nurtured, where maybe they're going to think of another package that can be available to you and your pet, or they release a newsletter that just hits, and it finally is that one missing piece that you needed to feel confident on moving forward, to have a treatment or a management or something done for your pet. I firmly believe that something good comes out of it. Just like something good comes out of when your vet does financially well, I think that there is a really good outcome on your vet taking vacation and taking time off. Again, with everything with good ethical intention, it is so, so important. And maybe it's a reminder for you to take some time off, to use that PTO, take some PTO. If you're a business owner, take the time off. Let the creative juices have an opportunity to come back. Let the reinvention come back. Let the excitement come back. And then sometimes just changing your scenery can do so much for your mindset. I do feel like every time I come back from a business trip or a vacation that I do feel a little bit more rejuvenated. Like I have another idea, and maybe it's for a specific pet, that like something I just allowed my brain enough time to reset that I'm like, oh my gosh, haven't thought about this for this pet, or I don't think we've talked about it, or I don't think we've looked at it from this lens, or oh my gosh, I had this wonderful idea, or I was in a place where I was able to receive it better from hearing it from a colleague what they did, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's a genius idea. Because I had the space and the capacity to allow that information to come in, because it's not just go, 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 go. It's not good for us. It's not good for our pets. It's not good for your practitioners. So I hope the next time that your veterinarian, or even on your side, your doctor takes time off, that you are excited, because there's a really good chance that they're going to come back recharged, and then the opportunities become even more endless.